welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast, sponsored by Motivate Training and Management. This is a podcast where we talk to drivers and industry experts to help you maximize your performances on and off the track. Let's get started with today's show. Hello, and welcome to episode 73 of the Motorsport Coaching Podcast. I am your host, Belinda Risley, and today we are talking things PR and brand partnerships with the lovely Ebony Doherty from Michelin. Before we get started in today's show, just a reminder, we do have a free Facebook group called Motorsport Sponsorship, where we cover topics like sponsorship, social media, branding, and public relations. So if you're new to karting, you're lacking funds at the moment, and you just want some ideas around how you can do it yourself, simply head over to our main page at Motivate T or search Motorsport Sponsorship and come and join our group. Can't wait to see you inside. Before we get started in today's show, just a little bit about Ebony. She's been born and raised in country Victoria by a family who has an extensive history in the automotive industry and a love for old school hot rods. She was determined to forge her own path in the industry. She has over 10 years experience in the automotive and motorsport landscape, including Speedway, supercars, and now working with our iconic brand Michelin as the PR and brand membership. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did. Let's get started. Good afternoon, Ebony, and welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast.
Thanks, Belinda. Thanks for having me.
I've been trying to get you on for about 6 months, really, so I'm glad you found some time.
Finally.
CV19 happened to us to actually have this conversation. But
yeah, you've locked me down because you know where I am. You know I'm at home.
I do. I'm really looking forward to telling a story today. For those who don't know you and haven't had the privilege of meeting you, Ebony, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So currently I'm in Melbourne working with Michelin. That brand doesn't really need any introduction, and working as their PR and brand partnerships manager. Just someone who has been around motorsport and all things automotive all my life.
Yes. And so you've had a great career working in different aspects of motorsports, but you did start off at Fitness First, is that right? Or was there something before Fitness First?
Before that. So I guess I'll rewind a little bit for you. My family have had a massive impact on, I guess, my career because they've had a long history in the automotive world. So my mum has worked at Burson Auto Parts for over 25 years now. My dad is a mechanic, builds hot rods and all that sort of thing, and they love all things automotive. So I guess as a kid growing up, we were constantly at racetracks, whether that was out at because we were from Bendigo, so we'd be out at Bagshot watching rally, we'd be at the Speedway, we'd be out at Heathcote Drags, we'd be at Calder Park, Phillip Island. If it had wheels and went fast, we were generally there. And if we weren't at a car racing event of some sort, we're at hot rod shows because I absolutely love their hot rods and still to this day have a few cars in the garage and still get out to a lot of shows. So, it was safe to say that I was destined to end up around cars of some sort. So yeah, when I was in high school, I was looking at different paths to get into motorsport and realized that I wasn't going to be a mechanic or engineer because I wasn't that clever. I hated maths, and then sort of looked at the creative side of things and the media side of things because I loved reading and writing. And I think I was 15 and I got the courage to send an email to Brad Jones asking about work experience. So I ended up getting hey, sure, tag along with us, come out to the racetrack at Winton and Phillip Island, hang out with us, and spent time with their media manager, who was Dale Britton at the time. And as you know now, he's got a very successful company in DBC2 here in Melbourne. They've just celebrated their 20th year. So I tagged along at a few race weekends over a couple of years. And then Dale was finishing up, and at that time I was finishing high school. So it was a bit of a crossroads. I was like, okay, what are you going to do now? Do you want to move to Canberra and start in the industry or go to university and get a degree? And I was only 17 at the time. So I made the decision to go to uni, which I ended up doing in Brisbane. So, and then, so then being in Brisbane and doing uni, I needed a job full time to pay for the bills and all that fun stuff. So that's why I ended up at Fitness First, and I was there for 7 years. Absolutely loved it. Really good team. So yeah.
And did you go to Brisbane for uni, or was it for Fitness First?
I had a bunch of friends moving up, so they said, "Hey, Ebs, we're all going up to Brisbane. Do you want to go? And I said, may as well. Let's see what's happening in Brisbane town. So went up there, did my degree, worked at Fitness First, and I was there for 7 years and then got made redundant, which was super odd to be so, I guess, young. I thought, I didn't think this would happen. And from then it was there that I said, okay, I need to get back into motorsport. And so that's when the path sort of got back on track.
And what did you study at uni?
Marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was some good advice. Again, Dale gave me that advice. He said, if you're studying, what are the different avenues that I could take? And looked at PR, looked at journalism, and it said, if you're thinking long term and what's going to be really good for your career, to get a wealth of knowledge on all things business and sales and consumer behaviour, that sort of thing, marketing was the way to go.
Yeah, and is that the role you did at Fitness First?
I was in customer care there.
And I just lost my train of thought. Are you like me? Have you raced before?
No. Only go-karts and poorly for fun.
Fantastic. That's all right.
I used to think I could race. I mean, when I was little, I had a Datsun 120Y that I used to drive around the paddocks at home. So I thought I was a mix of Victor Bray and Rochelle Splat, because we had this really massive, straight line down the side of the house and right down to the end of the paddock. So you'd always absolutely floor it, go as fast as you could and brake as late as you could before hitting the fence and taking out some horses.
Well, just talking about the hot rods, I can clearly understand that people love their categories of motorsports, but I do feel like those that love hot rods and drag racing are a completely different fan.
Yeah, they're all very connected. I think in all aspects of motorsport, it's one big community. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Everyone has massive respect for each other, and it's great. Everyone gets along. There's definitely rivalry on the track, but away from the track, It's definitely a big family and a big community. And I think that's what's the best thing about motorsport.
Yeah, I think Speedway's got that feel for it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I love Speedway. I wish
it is good. Yeah, definitely. It was a sad day when they shut the Bendigo Speedway down many, many years ago, but luckily there's still a few good tracks. So it's always good to get down to Warrnambool and Avalon when I can and check out the guys there.
What about Rushworth? Have you been to the local track here?
I
haven't been.
I have been. Yeah, it's crazy for such a small little town. Rushworth is in the middle of nowhere. Surprisingly, I think it's got a bakery and 2 pubs. I think that's all that's at that town. But somehow they draw people from everywhere to go to their speedway. It's huge.
I really need to go.
Go and check it out.
Once racing's back, Ebony, I'm going to Rushworth Speedway.
Yeah, do it.
On the off topic of Speedway, it'd be interesting to see what happens in New South Wales with the closure of Parramatta and when they rebuild it down the road, what it's going to look like. Is it going to change the feel, the love?
Oh, don't know. I know that those fans are very, very passionate. And if you look at any of the forums and when the news topics are coming out on Facebook especially, I mean, wow, the comments and the feedback, there's a lot. They've got a lot of passionate fans and supporters, and I think everyone wants to see it, back at what it is. Yeah, because that track's phenomenal.
It's not going to happen. as much as we all protest, I really think it's going to be very sad. But hopefully, it is going to make the sport bigger and better for the sake of it, because it is.
Yeah. City needs something.
Yeah, so back to you. It's all about you today. So we're living in Brisbane. We're doing a marketing course, working at Fitness First. 7 years, you get made redundant, and then what happens next?
So with getting back into motorsport, I mean, I was still going to events, and funny that we've just been talking about Speedway. At Archerfield one night, I had some friends going to the track that were involved in a show, Checkered Flag. So I'd reached out to one of my friends, Connor, and he was like, yeah, we're going, and do you want to help set up, some GoPros and cameras and that sort of thing? Just come and hang out. So I was like, sure, I'm going to be there. So caught up with the guys, and he introduced me to their producer David Tapp. So we were standing there on the hill watching the racing, and he was firing a few questions my way, and he was like, "You obviously know your Speedway, you know what you're talking about, and you've seen the show." I was like, "Yeah, of course." And he goes, "Have you ever done anything on the microphone?" I said, "No." He goes, "Well, I'm going to give you a microphone. Come on, follow me." So then we go down to the pits, and he goes, "Oh, this segment on the show, I'm going to give you the microphone and we're going to record something here." Basically putting you on the spot, testing you out. So next minute, camera's on. I interview a girl, Jamie. We do a piece and camera switches off and Tappy goes, "Done. You're working for me." So that opened a door there to do freelance work for him. So I helped out on the Checkered Flag program, shooting a few different Speedway events with them, late models, super sedans, dirt modified, speed cars, at a few different tracks, and such good fun. And also writing for Speedway Racing News. So it was a good way to sort of ease back into, what I enjoyed. So, and then from there, I remember I was out of the supercars at Queensland Raceway and I bumped into Brad, and he got there and he goes, "Oh, our media position was up last year." He goes, "I didn't even think to phone you. Give me your details. We'll stay in touch." And then only a couple of months later, he goes, I get a phone call. He goes, "Our media guy's leaving at the end of the year. What do you think about coming to Albury? Do you want to come down and join the team again?" I was like, "Well, yeah, done." So then out of Brisbane to Albury.
Did you not consider the weather?
No. It was cold. It was so cold.
Yes, and very contrast from Brisbane lifestyle to Albury lifestyle, but you did last there for 5 years. Is that right?
Yeah, yep. So just shy of 5 years in Albury town. So very cute little town, very nice, very cold. So it was good. I mean, I felt like my house was a laundry, just somewhere to unpack a bag and repack a bag, being away so much with all the racing. So yeah, it was good. Nice little town.
Yeah, it is. It's very quaint. It's very nice. So what was your official role at BJR?
So I was the media manager at BJR, and that was looking after all the, diary management for the drivers. So especially over race weekends, just making sure everyone was where they needed to be when they needed to be there, looking after all the social content for the team. So their Facebook pages and Twitter and Instagram, doing the press releases and websites, with the sponsors, liaising with them for, what they needed, and pit tours over race weekends. So just a lot of that behind the scenes organisation. So it was good fun.
That's what we want to hear about, and we want to showcase all the different roles are available within motorsport. So, I just glaze over it, but we're really interested to hear about what happens on the other side. So obviously we generally will see people like yourself running around with the drivers, taking them here, there and everywhere. So it'd be fantastic knowing what that name of that position is and what you actually do all weekend.
Yeah, so a few teams have multiple people, whether that's a commercial partner, media partner, and it's everyone thinks it is super glamorous, but the hours are long, they're varied, early mornings, late nights. So that's probably the biggest misconception about it, but it's fantastic. It's definitely an experience, and you learn a lot, get to meet great people, but definitely expect that if you're in the industry, it is hard work and it has its challenges like everything else. So, but that's a good thing about motorsport. If you're passionate about it, you tend to make it work, and you definitely enjoy the time there. So I think the biggest thing is just, making sure you've got the skill set, no matter what job it is. That's super important when you go to start there. That helps.
And did your role involve sponsorship and commercial agreements?
No, so that was all on Brad and Kim, and they are absolute gurus at it. They're fantastic. I mean, you don't see two blokes on their phone more than them doing deals and looking after the sponsors. So once the deals were set up, they'd sort of pass a few things over to me to help organise and set up, whether we're doing launches and videos and the photos and press releases, and then looking after their guests over race weekends with corporates, etc. So didn't do the initial setup of that, but certainly helped in looking after them. when we were trackside.
And so now you've moved across to Michelin. How did that role come up? And did you just get enough of the cold and you wanted, or is it a higher position or just more grassroots something? Because obviously with Michelin it includes the motorbikes as well. So tell us a little bit more about your role at Michelin.
Yeah, it's definitely a step up from what I was doing and certainly the challenge that I was looking for. I definitely wanted to progress, and from working at BJR and working with some fantastic sponsors like PPG and Timken and the guys at Freightliner, for example, you got a little insight into that corporate world and what the other side might be like. So that really interested me, and I got there and said, righto, I'm going to make the move and get to Melbourne and look for that next opportunity. And it was a long process to get in with Michelin. The interview process took almost a month, and it was something that I really, really wanted. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but I didn't actually tell anyone about it. I didn't say even to my parents that I was going for this role, because I thought, I want this so badly. I'm just going to wait until I've got it and then, share the great news, which is what I did. So I kind of took a few people by surprise, but it's definitely the perfect role that I was looking for. Provides a great challenge. I get to work with a team. There's 9 of us in the marketing team there. They're all fantastic people. They're all challenging in the fact that they've got great ideas. So we all push each other constantly, and it's just such a great creative space. The upskilling opportunities for learning and development, it's so motivating. It's really, really cool.
And again, what's your title there and what kind of tasks are you doing from day to day?
So the PR and brand partnerships manager at Michelin. So there I get to look after some of our motorsport partnerships and brand partnerships. So that includes working with the guys at Motorsport Australia and Porsche. So a bit similar, like this is, again, where we've crossed paths, because you work with the Porsche guys in their junior driver program. You get to pass on all your words of wisdom and advice to them there, and as well with the Dare to Be Different, Girls on Track. So all things that are obviously a little bit quiet at the moment, but, some great programs that are there. And then also I get to work with our brand ambassadors and plan events and activations with the brand too. So it's very cool to be on that side of it.
So one of the activations you have is the Michelin Man. We all love the Michelin Man. How long has the Michelin Man been around? These are top questions.
Forever. He is iconic. So commonly known as the Michelin Man, in France known as Bibendum. That's his proper title. So he is it's unreal. I managed to get in the suit at Sandown at the TCR event last year, and it was good. A few people didn't realise I was in it, so I got to scare a couple of people. But everyone's just so drawn to it. It's one of those brands that you can see just a part of the Michelin Man. You could see his arm or a foot or the face, and you just know what it is. The brand's iconic. So
how long has Michelin been around for?
Ooh,
the spot there. Come on.
Oh, I can't get the year. I've got it on the tip of my tongue.
It'll come back to you. It's all right.
It'll come back to me for sure.
So I guess going on from, they are a well-established brand. Why do they continue to invest and support motorsports?
Motorsport,
by the way.
Pardon?
We're very thankful, by the way. Just
so Michelin Motorsport's in their DNA, that's for sure. So they invest so much in the research and development of their products, and that's just so important to them, because they're constantly wanting to not just compete, but win and be successful in everything that they do. So the motorsport program is a big part of that. So they're involved in great categories such as MotoGP and Formula E, got a big involvement over at Le Mans, and here they obviously support categories like Porsche and TCR as well. So.
And do you get to do a work trip to Le Mans?
I was set to be over there this year, but the corona's had a little change of plan, so we'll see how we fare next year.
And do you get to work internationally with other marketing advisors as well within Michelin?
Yeah, so our group's very well connected, and we have a lot of communication with our region. So we're sort of obviously in the Oceania region. So I deal with the team in Thailand quite a bit, and then also direct over in France. So whether it's different events or whether we're talking about influencers, ambassadors, everyone's very great in sharing ideas, sharing content, ideas, that sort of thing. So we're all very connected that way and have lots of different team channels and chats going on to discuss what's coming up, and everyone's all about helping each other to get the best result for the business.
Yeah, when you mentioned before about doing activations, and I think one of the biggest benefit of being a sponsor in motorsport is that people don't take advantage of doing activations at the track. Yes, there's a cost and there's a process, like everything, that you need to go through in order to do them. But tell us about some other activations that you've done, whether it been at Michelin or other workplaces, BGR and the other sponsors that you've mentioned today. So people can get some ideas around about activations as opposed to just doing a competition per se.
Yeah, something for us, BF Goodrich is part of the Michelin family. So something that we were focusing on this year were some of the 4x4 shows. Mm-hmm. And for the Brisbane one in particular, we had a brilliant activation set up, this year's BFG's 150th year. So we had a really great idea in plan for that event. So it's a shame that we may not be able to go through with it now. But it was great to be able to have a budget and that creative control just to go, okay, here's a blank canvas. What can we do with it? So people are definitely looking at, it's all about creating an experience.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. So having a stand and running a competition, it's been done a million times, and it's definitely still part of the business. Yeah. But yeah, people are looking for an experience. I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to racing and sponsorship and events and activations. It's creating an experience and getting people involved in your brand, and not just making them aware of your products or who you are, but then getting their mindset to change, that they're thinking about buying your products and, you know, taking that next step on whatever journey that is.
Obviously, Michelin is still trading during the CV19 process. Have you had to bring any of your activations online, or have you done anything exciting during this period, or have you got anything exciting planned, or it's just business as usual, waiting to reopen and launch these wonderful ideas?
Yeah, we're definitely all prepping for the rebound when we can get activations and events back on track. I guess for the brand, we're very mindful at the moment because, you know, there's so many people we're not able to get outdoors and experience freedom and that mobility that we usually have, and that's very key for the brand. So you know, there's no real sales or commercial push with that in mind at the moment, because there's people unfortunately out of work and not being able to get out. So the company's very good in terms of their social responsibility and, you know, what they do in these times. So something we did last week, which was pretty cool, was a really good isolation boredom buster with the guys at Speed Cafe. So we got there and got 5 Lego sets, the Porsche 911s.
Yeah.
And so we so we did a competition with the Speed Cafe guys to give one of those away each day for a week. So they're little things that we can do, which creates a bit of fun. And I mean, it's not just for kids. I know all the big kids at home, you know, want them to. I even had Slady get there, and he messaged and he goes, "Hey, Ebs, can you get me a Lego?" He ended up he ended up going out and buying one himself. So it got a lot of attention. So you look at how you can do things a little bit differently, and it's about, you know, getting the brand out there, but just doing it in the right way.
Exactly. Yeah. And do you have any idea when we'll be resuming racing? Anything on the inside you can share with us?
The sooner the better.
Yeah. And so, Eb, I also saw somewhere, correct me if I was wrong, but do you commentate lawn bowls?
That's a extension from working with Tappy. So he got there and phoned me last year and said, "Hey, Ebs, we've got this new lawn bowls tournament coming up called the Ultimate Bowls Championship." He goes, "Can you come and work for me? We need someone. We want to get a couple of females." So we got myself and Georgia White to play the host and commentator roles for that. So I got there and I said, "Yeah, why not?" and people get there and they turn their nose up a little bit about lawn bowls. They're like, oh, that's just an old person sport. But I tell you what, the guys and girls playing that are quite young. They're playing for $500,000 prize money. I think we could be in the wrong sport, to be honest.
Everyone would say that. They would agree.
Yeah. So it was something very left of field, but I saw that again as a challenge and a fun opportunity. So I jumped at that. And was very, very successful as well. So that aired in 22 countries. And it was funny because one of the Michelin bosses in Thailand, he got there and saw it and sent me an email, I think on the Monday, goes, super random, but what is this? What is this? I was like, yeah, side hustle.
Yeah. So did you commentate it, or like what was your role during that?
I played the host role. So opening and closing the show, doing all the throws to commercial and interviewing a few of the players and that sort of thing. So just that person to piece a few of the parts of the puzzle together.
And did you know anything about lawn bowls, or you just wanted the challenge?
Only from watching my pa play way back in the day. But the game, this one itself is a whole new concept. So new rules. It's almost like the T20 Big Bash of lawn bowls. All the games are less than 20 minutes. It's what they call their fun, fresh, fast format. So it's good fun, like surprisingly good fun.
And so you've been at Michelin now for just over a year?
Just less.
Less than, yeah.
So quick.
I know. We'll just say it's May. And you sound very happy. Are you crossing the line to two-wheelers, or are you still happy with the four-wheelers?
Still happy with the four wheels for sure. But it is great to be involved in the two-wheel as well. So I've had the chance to meet some fantastic ambassadors we've got already, and I finally got to go to the MotoGP last year. It would just always clash with supercars for some reason. So last year I got to go down and take a couple of guests out there for the weekend, and that was fantastic. So got to tour in a few of the garages, and you can just see the respect that all the teams have for the Michelin people there. So it was great. It was very, very cool to be standing, right beside Valentino Rossi's bike. And yeah, it was cool to see how they run things, because I guess you get quite used to. Yeah. You see how the supercar pits work. You see how TCR, like, you get to see that, but then stepping into their world, totally different. That's another level for sure.
It is. And so you sound very happy there at Michelin. Is this the ultimate goal, or have you still got bigger, better grand plans of career?
I think they're going to be stuck with me for a while. Which is which is really good. I love that, already in my short time there, I can see how much they look after their people. They are talking already about, development and progression, and, they ask all the right questions of their staff as to what do you want to learn, and are all about self-improvement. They love when people bring new ideas to the table, and I guess really challenge everyone to come up with new concepts and ideas, and lots of workshops and that sort of thing. So it's definitely the most creative team that I've been involved with, and they've got some big goals, big plans, and it's just great to be a part of that for sure.
And you're home more on the weekends?
Yeah, a few more at this stage.
Well, other than that, outside of CV19 world, you're home a lot more.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Ebony. It was great to have a bit of an insight to see what does a global organisation do as far as PR and branding going, and to hear about your journey. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me.
Do you have any words of wisdom for people who are wanting to get into the world of motorsports? Obviously, get a degree. Or what's your words?
I think if you've got the passion and, just that ability to work hard and really go for it, then you'll get there. That's for sure. So I think people have to be confident, be prepared for the no's, because you'll definitely get them. But I think people just need to remember, if you don't ask a question, the answer is no already. So whether it's sponsorship, jobs, whatever it is, just keep asking questions, keep knocking down those doors, and be prepared to work hard.
Be persistent.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't be a pest. Be persistent, but don't be a pest.
Yeah, definitely. I know there's always the opportunity to upskill and develop yourself. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again, Ebony, for coming on and joining us today. Really loved hearing about your story and can't wait to see you at the track soon.
Yes, look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Eb. Bye.
Thanks, Belinda.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to this week's show. I really hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. Now, remember, all the show notes with the links and the specials mentioned in today's show are available over at motivatetraining.com.au. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you could head to iTunes or Stitcher, type in Motorsport Coaching, subscribe, and leave us a review. Each week, I'll read them out and you'll go into monthly draw to win a fantastic prize. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at motivatetraining.com.au or head over to our Facebook page at Motivate to Tea. Until next time, take care.